So then from a technical perspective, how do you prepare for something like this? I mean, what did you need to upgrade your existing software, hardware upgrades? What kind of migration tools did you use, that kind of?
So the key shift in sort of the infrastructure that we're going to be using in the future, by moving all the desktops into a virtual environment and putting them in one place, so putting all your eggs in one basket, you're actually putting a lot more leverage on your network in the future. So a very key thing to look at there was the topology of our network and the bandwidth and the various things that went with that. We had to look at the types of technology on the applications as a very strong driver in the way in which you implement the technology, because there's the more of applications that you have to worry about and how they work with the desktops, then you have to package them in a particular way and stream them or choose your method of delivering those applications. So there's an awful lot of work goes into those and actually identifying which ones are the right ones to use, what can work in a particular way, and that very much drives the implementation of how the project's going to go in the end. The use of technology to enhance the customer experience, the user experience, we've opted to use AppSense to really we talk about virtualizing the desktop, but you're actually virtualizing the user as well. So all your preferences, everything that makes up you as a user in the system will actually be virtualized and move with you. So you have that guaranteed experience wherever you go and whatever device you use.
I would assume that this has improved things for you guys, at least. I would hope that this has improved things for you guys in the IT department. So can you tell us a little bit about if there's something that you particularly wanted to highlight as something that had been a benefit for IT?
From our perspective, it maintains the supportability of the infrastructure, so we can actually deliver that and guarantee the service levels for our customers. It's excellent in the face of the NATS strategy and for growth and how we want to expand. Then we can react much more quickly and easily to demands. Classic thing is that what NATS has been struggling a wee bit with is that I hold the budget at the moment for everything, for all the applications and for the desktops and the hardware, is that I want to actually get rid of that and move that off to the business. Okay. So there's an education there for the business and how to actually plan for that and work with that. But that's instead of me having to say no an awful lot and actually explain and bring people on board in that way, then we're actually pushing the decisions back to the business. Okay. So it makes it a lot easier for the business to be masters of their own destiny. For me, it's quite difficult because that's controlled, it's just gone.
That's a major cultural change for an IT department to say, business, have the budget.
Yes, so giving that away and saying, I don't care what device you have, I can confidently do that, but guarantee the levels of support. Yeah. So it's kind of, you're taking little steps into dipping your toe in the water every time you go with this. So it's putting the appropriate level of governance around it now, and without stifling any of that innovation that can come from the business and ways of working and what can come from the flexibility that we're giving them. Yeah.
So would you recommend the path of less control to any of your compatriots, your colleagues?
I think I would recommend it.
Brief hesitation.
It is, because you still have control, but you have control in different ways. Okay. So it's almost that people can make the decisions. They have greater scope to make decisions that they currently don't have, but they just don't have complete free for all. Okay. So you have I would describe it as appropriate level of governance and the appropriate level of control. So I really believe the IS department in the future, in the next 3 to 4 years, we'll become much more of a broker of services to the business. So I try to describe it as it's like your gas and your electricity. You can go and buy that. It's still the same gas and electricity, but you buy it from different people at a different rate. I want to be able to provide those services at a competitive rate to the business. Yeah. And whenever they say, well, actually something's shifted, and I can switch in a different service very, very easily and seamlessly, but their costs will change to reflect what service they want to get. And I think that's what we're going towards, so that you still have that control. But the emphasis becomes much more on me actually being able to provide those services at the right type of services at the right price. If I don't do that for the business, then they will go elsewhere, and then I will absolutely have no control.
And you'll have no control.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, that does make sense. So looking back at how your customer base is obviously fairly familiar with a controlled environment, but how has the level of virtualization that you're embarking on now is a much higher level, broader perhaps, with using things like AppSense to kind of help people manage their environments and for you to keep control of things a little bit. How has that gone down with your user base? How are they responding to this kind of standardization?
So at the moment we're just in the midst of that, so it's very much on the sort of proof of concept or showcase demonstration type thing. But the reactions are fantastic. So simple example is that you know, in the NATS2 in our lockdown environment we currently have, then you can't put any pictures on the desktop, you know, and that's there for a particular reason, because for a support reason. But in the future that flexibility will go. But the fact that people will be able to do things in their personal life on the same device and at the same time as working, then has gone down absolutely brilliantly. And because you've given them the flexibility where they want it to be, then I can tie down even tighter the corporate stuff. But
so if you give people the ability to put a picture of their favourite golden retriever on their computer, they don't mind if you take away.
Kind of at this early stage, then that's kind of what's happening.
They're happy
but
with that.
but it's I'm probably we can actually tie things down much tighter now than we have done in the past. But because there's the freedom around it, then the people are much more acceptant of that.
Okay. And have you got any general tips, any general advice for anyone out there who might be planning to do something like this? Any advice and any traps for the unwary, boxes that have to be ticked, things that they must do?
I think the key things are that where we've been successful is that you need to be very clear about the use cases that you're trying to tackle. So know exactly how everybody uses the IT currently, and in a virtualized environment you have to map all those use cases. Also get a grip of your infrastructure as early as possible, because you know, if you can start to have the conversations, which are many conversations about people about why things are the way they are, then start those as early as possible. Rationalize within your current environment as much as possible prior to doing this, because it just makes it so much more simplified, and the implementation is much easier. So those are the key things. The other thing that I would add to that is that I've been very lucky in that we've had really good top-down executive level sponsorship for this. So our CEO, Richard Deacon, he really gets the technology and understands it. And if anything, he's actually very pushing for it in that way, in the way he works. So having that support and that understanding just makes things a lot easier, if that's at all possible to get.
Okay. Gavin, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Cheers.